Alright, we're here with a special little episode of Broken Spokes. Myself and Christine went down to Vineland, New Jersey in the fall to do a special little interview with Ed Abbott of Ed's Bike Shop. Actually, Ed's BMX Pro Shop. Calling it a bike shop is not really what it is. The place is an amazing place to hang out. It's nothing but wall-to-wall BMX. When you're there during the day, all you see are BMXers in and out of the place. I was there probably for a good 5 hours, 6 hours. Whole time I was there, just people coming in buying BMX stuff. You'll see the shop. You'll see Ed's roots in the sport go all the way back to 1976 when BMX first began in Millville. He was there. Of course, he's still around today with his team down there in Vineland, making a huge scene happen with all their riders and all the coverage that they do. Of course, Ed's games that we covered last year, last summer, 2010. We were down there. It's a big scene. Hundreds of riders were down there for that, and it was crazy. But shot down there. We got Ed on tape for posterity, so everybody can see who the man is behind, I would have to say, if not the most successful BMX only shop on the East Coast, the most successful BMX shop in the country. And it's very cool. Ed has a lot of nice stuff to say, and all of his riders and all the guys that hang out there are cool people. They've invited me down plenty of time to hang out and ride and whatnot, and you will be getting to check some of that out probably next year when we go back down there for some more events and whatnot. So here it is, the 2010 interview, the 2010 bike shop interview with Ed Abbott of Ed's BMX Pro Shop in Vineland, New Jersey. Roll them once again, Mr. Smokey. We're here with the main man in Vineland, New Jersey, Ed Abbott, husband of Carol Abbott, who's behind the counter right now. You can't see her. From Ed's Bike Shop, basically a legend down here on the in South Jersey on the East Coast. This place is incredible. You can see the background, nothing but BMX bikes and BMX parts everywhere you see. This guy has it going on. We're going to ask Ed a few questions today and see how he got to this point. He goes all the way back to back before the beginning of BMX in New Jersey, so this guy's got a few things he can, I think, teach us. This is Ed Abbott.
How you doing?
It's good to see you again, Ed. Got here for Ed's games in the summer. That was like crazy.
Oh, we appreciate you coming. Yeah. Good coverage in the magazine.
Thank you.
Everybody loved it.
Cool.
Got a lot of issues out there.
I got to know, how did you start in BMX? When I first came down here, you were talking about how you were at some distributor or something. This has got to be 35, almost 40 years ago, and you were saying, I'll take all your number plates or something. And the guy looked at you sideways and said, are you crazy? I guess at that point, are you a crazy kid?
I can tell you exactly who it was. It was Keystone Haverford, which was a roll-fast distributor, and they sold parts. And they came out with these handlebars with crossbars, and they came out with a long BMX seats and number plates and waffle grips. And I used to go up once a week, and I would buy everything that came in. Just loved the 20-inch Stingray bike. There were Stingrays in those days.
Yeah, it was just Stingrays. That's how all of us kids started. And you looked at it and you said, this is really cool, and I wanted.
Yep.
And you didn't have a shop or anything. You were just a young dude.
I had a backyard part-time shop. Okay. Yes.
So how did you get involved in bicycles to begin with? Like, what was your?
I started with one used 26-inch balloon tire bike. And my dad walked me through stripping the whole bike, painting it, rebuilding it, put it out front for sale, and it didn't sell. And I built another one. Almost rebuilt the complete bike. They'd get new fenders, seats, tires, tubes, pedals, new bearings, new paint job. Take them down to bare metal, prime them, paint them, put it out front. And I had two out front, didn't sell. I had about 6 bikes out front that I totally rebuilt. and a man came along and bought 4 bikes out of the 6 that didn't sell for weeks. And then they just started selling.
So it's just like
It
everything
started
else.
with used bikes that people would come, I don't want a new bike, I want a used bike. I said, well, that's a brand new used bike. It's not a new bike, but and they thought they were new.
You just did a killer job working on them and fixing them up. That you knew bikes from like the ground up.
12 years old,
12 years
me
old.
and Dad rebuilt them. He showed me everything.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So then you started getting more and more into it, I guess, and then at that point, that was the 70s? Was that the 70s or you were?
That was 1960.
1960. You go all the way back. Dang. So did you get a shop going now as you got older and you got into your...
Pretty quick, we built a small wooden building in the backyard, which was about 14 by 25 feet. And I divided an 8-foot section off as a spray booth. Almost blew myself up. No explosion proof. I was spraying with a compressor. The switches weren't explosion proof. I didn't know anything about that. The exhaust fan wasn't. And an auto body shop customer came in and he says, "You're going to kill yourself."
Yeah, from that switch one day.
He says, "You're painting even lacquers?" And I said, "Yeah." And he says, "It's going to blow up." So we had to think about that. And I went outside and started spraying. left the spray booth that I made.
That's crazy.
Because couldn't afford explosion-proof fans and
That's
switches.
Funny. That's funny.
So just continued.
So you just continued, built a little shop in the back, and then I guess at some point you said, maybe we should go all the way and get a storefront. And
No, we added on to that building.
it's not like
We added on to that building. We put the 14 by 25, got an 18 by 25 foot addition, and then I went full time.
This was how old were you?
Out of that building, wait, I gotta stop to think.
Last week, maybe the week before.
In the mid 70s,
Okay.
and then started looking around for a building. In 1980, we bought this location.
Okay.
Because we wanted to be out on the road rather than the backyard.
So I guess during the when BMX was just starting its heyday down here, when it was beginning in Millville and everything, and you were involved at that point. You have the pictures, which you'll be seeing when you see this. At that point, you were still in that small building in the house there, and you were going through all that. You actually had a team and the whole nine. So you were like sort of like, they talk about Joe Kidd on the Stingray, that one team who was the guy who was like, I'm going to have a BMX team, and I guess you were sort of the same way. You had the shop in your house, and you're like, BMX is big, these kids are into it, we're going to do something. And I guess you put the team together as
That was it.
1970.
Everybody was all excited about racing, and away we went.
And you were back it. You were into it, and so you've always been about like helping the kids out and doing stuff like that. Which is
Always
cool.
had a love for the 20-inch and the kids, and it just all came together.
That's cool. So in the early 70s, and into the 80s, you had the BMX, and the racing was big down here, and apparently you were into that. And you went through that whole stage. I guess we all go through the racing stage. We won't go into that. But we go through the racing stage, we get into it, a lot of kids get into racing, and then, things happen. People will get older and they want to continue to ride, but they don't know how to ride, but they don't know how to continue to ride, they get into freestyle stuff. But then when racing started to fade out in the 80s, you moved into a shop, you were just saying, in 1980, into a storefront. So
Moved here in 1980.
let's hear a little bit about moving into a shop. It was the first time getting the whole place going, and like...
Well, we were a
must have been a big
complete
move.
line dealer. We had a lot of 20-inch, but in those days, you saw it, the road bike was the big thing. And then your mountain bikes were starting. So we did a complete family line. If you came in for a 12.5-inch bike for your 2.5-year-old, and you came in for a 16-inch bike for your 3-4-year-old, mom and dad, we had everything. We squeezed it all in the same building.
Bigger or smaller than this?
No,
Oh, this is it. That's right. You just said. I'm not paying attention. Wow. So you have a complete. Look at this place now, and you think about it filled with nothing but all kinds of different kinds of bikes. It's hard to imagine.
This was a double rack here, double tier of bikes.
Okay.
Okay, so we had more bikes on this side of the
So
store.
you just had bikes everywhere.
It was storage buildings. They were everywhere.
Yeah, you have that building in the back where you have a whole bunch of stuff. So that's,
Yeah, we
that's
have
pretty-
another building. We used to use both buildings.
So you're just stacked to the gills with bikes. So you moved into here, and I guess at that point you were probably still a little bit in the BMX and stuff. And there was that time, of course, BMX was
That's
pretty
when
dead.
it was starting to lighten up for us, BMX. We continued, but we were starting to get out of the racing. We eased up on the racing in the early 80s, stayed with the bikes, and just figured it was going to go somewhere else, where I didn't know. Until Matt Hoffman came along.
Yeah, you said you were telling me that one time I was down here, you're like, it's sort of faded out, and a bike shop needs to make money to survive, and you're like, well, what am I going to do with this? So you kept going, but you kept your eye on it. You're like, at some point this is going to come back to the point where I can help people again and get something going. And
20 inch will continue.
This 20 inch will stay on. When you saw Matt, we all know who Matt Hoffman is, he came back and he started to really push the sport to new limits. And he said, something's going on here that I should get back involved again. And
especially when he went brakeless.
It's insane. He towed on a motorcycle with no brakes and then 20 foot plus airs. That's insane. That's crazy. But you saw that and you were like, I'm going to get back into BMX now. Did you immediately just go ahead and stock your whole shop with BMX parts and just say
no? We were always stocked, but we just eased up on the racing end because there was always plenty of BMX bikes on the street. Kids did wanted to look like a racer but weren't racers. Then you had your freestyle boom. All the bright bikes, so that kind of, I forgot about that. We went into more of the freestyle. Yet they weren't true freestyle riders. There were some, but they wanted that colorful bike, and that took off in the early 80s.
Yeah, so you were part of that whole wave of...
Went through all the pink bikes, the purple bikes, like, wow, guys are buying pink bikes.
Sort of. Okay.
Dad would come in, not my son. I go, you watch, your son wants a pink bike.
He's getting pink. If he wants pink, he's getting pink.
He's getting pink. I had one father refuse Christmas, and that kid never got his bike. Because the kid wanted pink.
He's not going to ride a pink bike. Not my son.
My son will not own a pink bike, and he never bought him the bike. I felt so bad.
It's bad.
So we've got black ones, we got white ones. The kid wanted pink. The father said he'd buy that. No, he didn't buy it.
Everybody was about being loud in those early 80 days. They were like, I need a big pink bike.
First bike I put on the floor in that freestyle boom was a pink bike.
Really?
I sold it that day.
What kind was it? Do you remember?
That was Cycle Pro.
Cycle Pro.
Second one was an orange bike.
That's crazy. That's so long ago. I mean, it seems like yesterday, but that's got to be 25, 26 years ago easily. So you were
just about 30.
30. Don't start.
80s.
Now you make me really feel old.
2010.
So you went and you hit the freestyle boom when it was big. So you've always kept your eye on 20 inch because obviously you were
always
heavily into it from the Stingrays and everything, and you sort of had an affinity for it. You went through that boom, then of course that went bust. I'm sure you still kept some parts in there, but you're like, what happened? I guess it's been taking that almost like boom and bust cycle with BMX to get it to where we are now.
A lot of up and downs. Then you always had the collectors, so they kept you going with the parts.
So they were sneaking in here. Holy cow!
Guys collecting the BMX bikes. Gee, I always wanted this bike when I was a kid, couldn't get it. I'm looking for this part. Had a lot of the old parts. So one day I made the mistake and eBayed them all off.
If you had kept them till today, actually probably 2 years before.
I sold them all one item at a time, but I sold almost all the old items that I had in stock went on eBay all over the world. 100% of the few Hutch items I had, other than a piece of literature, went to England.
Really?
Yeah.
Hutch is big for the old school guys. They love that stuff. And especially, I guess about 5 or 6 years ago when it was really, really starting to get really big, Hutch was going crazy. That was the big, they were so like big deal when we were kids, and everybody I guess wanted them because they had to be perfect with their chrome, and Mr. Hutchinson was a perfectionist. Saving myself for saying something nasty.
Prices went through the roof.
The prices on old school stuff. Like
I sold it just before it went through the roof.
Sort of stinks, but you sold all that, which made room for all this. So
made room for everything new. Decided all new.
So I guess when Hoffman was getting was really pushing it again into the really late 80s, into the 90s. You started to see it coming back around, and you're like, maybe I should start stocking more and more BMX stuff. And how did it evolve into this? I mean, this is a huge. This is unheard of. Like if I went from North Jersey to South Jersey, unless I went into a bike shop inside a skate park, that's the only place I would find a place even half this size. To have a shop, the sign says BMX Pro Shop. That's not a lie. No, it's not like you come in here and say, oh yeah, it's right there. This is huge. You have everything. So how did you get to that point? Like just
kept working it. Just kept building the interest in the area. Started seeing the older guys not putting their bike away when I got their driver's license, because that was the end.
Yeah, it was.
Either a girlfriend, a steady girlfriend, or a driver's license, or both. They were done.
Yeah.
I had such steady, good customers, good riders, and licensed girlfriend, that was the end. And then all at once, license allows me to go here to ride, allows me to go there. I started to see that change where when they turned 17, I didn't lose them. And that made it worthwhile to say, hey, just keep bringing it in because it's growing. And my riders got into the 20s. Then it was something when I had riders who come in and say, I'm 30, 32, 34. Now I have guys come in and say, I'm 40, 44. And I'm like, wow, and this is where it went. They just kept staying with me, and they didn't put the 20-inch bike away.
Yeah, I think that's part of the, you really helped out doing that though, because you kept an interest. You weren't just like, I don't stock that stupid BMX stuff anymore. You're like, oh, you're still too? Yeah, cool, I can whatever you need.
Always my first love.
And the guy came from the Stingrays, and now he's got Solinki's Sundays in here, so it's he's been around forever, and he knows everything. So that's awesome. I also noticed that when I first started hearing about you, and I was asking people like, what's Ed's all about? Like, everybody says like this is the shop like on the East Coast, like it's the biggest thing, and I'm like, okay, in South Jersey we have the biggest shop on the East Coast. I'm like, what is so special about this guy? And when I looked at what you were doing before I met you, I was like, oh, he's like really into it. I mean, he's never really been a rider yourself. You're into going out, and you talk about your truck and you got metal detectors, but this guy goes out and he'll follow his guys around, put them on a truck, video, photo them, and I'm good photos. I mean, the guy's a killer photographer too, and he puts it all out there, and on his own time, on his own dime, he does this, and it's just like he has a big love for something, and he just puts it out there and helps these guys. It makes them support him, and he's got this very loyal guy that come in here. I mean, everybody wears an Ed shirt, and you got to wonder because he's a bike shop owner, but these guys are like, don't jack with Eds. And it's amazing. I mean, it was really cool. So I was like, I need to find out more about this guy. And then when I met you up at Shields last year, finally, and I said to myself, wow, I mean, this. Everybody talks about Ed. I was like, I gotta get the right time to talk to Ed. And finally, when I spoke to him, he told me about Ed's games. And I looked on the site and I saw all the pictures and everything from that, and I was like, oh, this guy has like a grind box and a bunny hop thing, and he's got more people than we ever get at any skate park contest in New Jersey. How's he do it? He's like, you want to come down? Come on down, have a good time with some food. I was like, all right, I'll come down. Come down at date, and it was running around. He's like, I don't know, it's gonna be big. Of course, by the end of the day, there's 600 people sitting out there. And I was like, I don't know how you do this, but it's a testimony to number one, I guess, years of experience of what you know about BMX and how you've gone through all the ups and downs and all the nonsense. But I think that's just amazing. And,
it's been fun.
It's been a fun ride.
A lot of loyal customers. The guys are like family. It's just been fun.
Yeah, and so I've been hanging out here all morning long, waiting for a break, because I got here at 11 o'clock. I said, it probably won't be busy till later in the day. 11 o'clock, I'm here. There's 10 people in the shop.
8:30, you should have.
And it's just all day long. There's guys in Ed's shop. So. That's awesome. I mean, it's really cool that you support BMX like this. I mean, it's hard to find people that will take it serious, that will support it, that will go around and do things for the riders and not drive and not just say, forget it. BMX is a real small thing. It doesn't mean anything. It's a small market. We don't care about it. And you just, from day one, this is cool.
I believe in it. The shop's 100% now.
Yeah, it's 100%. I mean,
throughout all the full-size bikes.
Yeah, there's nothing but BMX. You walk into the shop and you wonder how the heck can a shop be like this? As a BMXer who's been around forever, I mean, I've never been in a BMX shop that's 100% BMX with this much stuff. Never.
I even had a couple of distributors ask me, "You sure you want to go only 20 inch? You sure about this?" And this is their bread and butter, only 20 inch. And I said, "Yes."
Yep. Yeah,
they were shocked.
You're looking at a guy who he's got a MySpace page, a little bit of Facebook stuff, but it's just he has a scene down here. That's all he cares about. It's his local scene, and that really is almost a lesson to everybody who's out there trying to like make BMX better. Is it takes like one guy who really cares about the scene where they are at, and they concentrate on that. I spoke to Ed one time. He's like, I don't need these other people around me. He wasn't being mean or anything. He's just like, I do my thing, and this is what I'm about. And it's right. His focus is on this area.
My area, my guys.
and it helps the whole scene, because now you have a bike shop that's this big, that's supporting all these companies, helping these companies out, that are growing, and this is how you grow BMX. Like, you have to have one guy, he's serious, this isn't a joke to him. He doesn't look at all these riders like they're kids. He looks at them like they're grown up, they're older guys. How's college going? How's the job going? How'd you cut your finger on the lawnmower and fix it today? Whatever. This is how you do it, and I hope when people get to see this that they see a little bit of that, and they see a guy who's been around since Stingrays to Sundays.
That's good.
Stingrays to Sundays.
Jim will like that.
Jim, if you're watching me, you're like, who's that guy? But it's awesome what you've been doing here. So I'm glad I finally got to meet Ed, through last year, and it's even better now that we're sitting here.
I'm really glad you came down. We've been enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a
You're
good
doing
time.
a lot.
I'm trying
out there.
I'm trying to get everybody in. There's a lot. There's shops all over the place. Like, when are you gonna do me? When are you gonna do that? I'm like, well, it's a seniority thing here.
Thank you.
Not that you're senior. I'm saying you're the oldest guy who's been around the longest.
But I don't feel it.
So Ed knows his stuff. So, but what do you got? I guess you're gonna do Ed's games again next year. Are you planning some other stuff?
Ed's games coming. We never decide till it gets real close what we're doing. Found that you can't plan ahead of time. Can't plan who'll be here. As far as the pro riders, this is just the way the industry is. Sometimes a few days before, we know who's coming.
So you wonder why he appeals to freestylers. It's that kind of mentality. We'll wing it when we get there.
We get a lot of merchandise together. We gave $5,000 worth of merchandise free just by being here, and gave $600 in cash for prizes. Just try to keep it bigger every year. That's our goal.
So it was pretty amazing last year. So if you do get a chance to come down to Vineland next year for Ed's games, you got to come down and just hang out and experience this whole situation.
Everybody's welcome. We have a lot of fun.
All the riders that are down here too, they're cool guys. You get invites back to people's houses who have ramps in them in the middle of nowhere. You're like, Delmont Skate Park.
On his birthday tonight.
Happy birthday, Mike. I think that's pretty cool. Is there anything you'd like to say? Does anybody like to thank? Anybody
Thank my wife. My mom and dad gave me every minute they had, which they passed away. And my wife Carol, I couldn't do it without her. She's just gives me all her time. She's retired. She's a retired school teacher, and she thought she was retiring, and she ended up full-time plus. Put a lot of hours in. You have to put as many hours as it takes.
Business, when you own your own business, the business is your life. So
you leave when the customers are gone.
And then you go home, you're like, oh, are all the finances in order? Is everything working okay?
We used to be able to close if it said 6 o'clock to sign. We used to leave. Now, if it's 6 o'clock and there's people here, they call. If it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we leave.
And that's why the huge scene down here, because you have a guy who's not like, we're closing, goodbye, everybody out of the store.
Unless, if I have an appointment that I have to leave, they understand.
Yeah.
I say, look, I have to be somewhere, I've got to go. But I try to be flexible. You have to change with the times, and that's what we learned. What I did 25 years ago, what I did 15 years ago, you have to change with the market, with the time. And that's what we realized. I've been questioned by everybody in the industry. How can South Jersey be so big? I said, well, remember, I go back 50 years. We started in BMX at the beginning, the mid-70s, and you just can't say this is the way it is. We had to match mail order pricing. We did it. Means you got to sell a lot of product or you're not going to make it. We let the guys use the tools. Never used to do that. Hey, there's tools there for them to use. 42-inch TV's bigger than the one I got home.
We're sitting right next to a huge TV right here. He's got chairs sitting around here so the guys can sit here, watch videos, and hang out. He's also got the way his stairs are set up, he's got a little piece of angle iron on the stairs, and it's been shredded to bits out there. So, you know, you come to the shop and there's guys grinding on I mean, how many bike shops are going to do that? They're going to be like, ah, there, kid, I'm trying to sell a road bike.
Now you got me thinking, I wonder if everyone that's been on my rail out there.
That's the next thing.
Some of the big names and some of the beginners.
Next time you have to, when the pros are out here, you have to stand in front of the rail. Okay, so that way you have it for posterity.
A lot of pros have been on it.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
It's neat. Never thought about it. It's there. Sometimes it's awful loud when you're trying to sell something.
Guys, keep the Smiths down.
You hear the noise and boy, that didn't sound good.
Ping, ping.
Pretty much know what's going on out there. Can't say, but.
That's right, it's a solid door. Well,
yeah, there's a little teeny window.
It's a fire door there, so you gotta wonder like how bad it gets out there. It's gotta be pretty rough out there sometimes. That's funny.
It's fun.
But it's good seeing you again, Ed, and
thank you.
I wish you all the success in the world with this. I hope you're around until you're 120 doing this because we need people like you at BMX.
My plan was when I hit 62 to retire. I was 62 in February. Not going anywhere. Staying here till I die.
Well, I guess you found something you don't mind doing. You're here every time I walk in here. Ed's smiling, laughing, and he's on his knees working on a bike. You're 62 years old, Ed. How can you sit? I can't. I'm 44. I can't get on my knees and work on a bike. This is the best way to do it.
He's 63 in February.
63. A young 63.
Yep. Feel good. Ride a bike almost every day.
Nice. So what kind of bike do you ride? What do you?
I have a 24-inch Sunday Model C.
You can't be around and not be into it. I got video of Ed's truck too, so we're gonna show Ed's truck.
Oh, gee, you got my Raptor.
We got the Raptor. So you know, we grew up looking at R.L. Osborne in his jacked up Toyotas, and he's got this. You know, here he is. He's talking about last year. Brett, I'm getting this Ford, man. This is bad. This Raptor, and I was like, oh, that's cool. It's fine.
You got a good memory.
Yeah, I remember. I'm talking to you, man.
He doesn't forget.
I want to know a little bit about you going out and metal detecting.
I get out, follow the storms, go to the beaches.
Where do you go to do that? Well, unless you don't want to disclose that.
Well, usually from Ocean City, north and south. Especially a northeaster, a hurricane, that's the time to be there. Night, got my headlamp. I was out the other night because they were saying the surf was going to be big. It was big, but it wasn't moving sand. It was bringing sand in. The night before, I found a silver ring. I found a gold ring. The night was supposed to be good. Just some change. You gotta have something to get away.
Yeah.
Gives me a break. 45 minutes. I can beat to the beach. Have to watch the Raptor once it go a little too quick. Have everything with me. 3 detectors in the back of the truck always.
Cool.
All my gear, a couple scoops, and whatever I need is in the truck.
Cool. So what is the weirdest thing you ever found, the coolest thing you ever found?
The thing I really like was just found last winter is a Spanish 8 Real. Found several, but a 1776.
Wow.
The year's real significant. Beginning of the whole country. I have it, and it was neat to find it on the beach.
Cool.
Came from a shipwreck.
That's cool. That's cool. Everybody's got their little hobby that they're into, man. The BMX. You know, the creative guy out there. There's something you never hear about. Like I'll meet hundreds of people doing this stuff, and Ed's the first guy. So I go out and I do a little metal detecting on the side. You know, I want to do something different.
I used to shoot a lot.
I saw some pictures in the back there. Go to the range.
I used to shoot a lot. Used to fish a lot. Indian artifacts. Photography. I go in stages. I do it so many years and then I switch.
Well, it's good that you don't shoot anymore, I guess, because that would be rough with the BMX. Come on, try and dodge another one, Kev. Tell you what,
nah, never mixed it with the riders. Used to compete in a lot of different forms of shooting.
Really?
Pistol, shotgun, yeah.
So is that like bullseye, where you have to hit the bullseye and the whole nine? Or is it-
Shot bullseye, shot IPSC, which is more of a running shoot, being timed, sporting clays. Yeah, did it a lot.
Crazy. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, had an arsenal.
Now you got a BMX arsenal, so.
Yeah.
One way or
Not much we don't have here.
I don't think there's anything you could walk in here and go, Ed, do you have? Yes. I didn't say what it is. Don't worry about it. If I don't have it right here, I'll have it for you in 3 days.
Pretty much here. If it's a brand we handle.
You'll see it, because when we're talking, although we're talking right now, I'll voice over everything else. You'll see these cases of BMX craziness that he's got all over the place. Shoes stacked to the gills, clothes everywhere. It's you know, if you walked into here and you weren't feeling your pulse, you'd be like, did I just die and go to BMX heaven? Because you have every
You know
single.
how many times I hear that? The older guys are like, wow.
Yeah, well, all the guys like us were like, I wish I was 18 again. I want in here, man.
They go over to the younger guys and they say, boy, I wish I had a place like this when I was growing up. I love that.
We had nothing like this.
Pros, I hear that all the time from the pros. Wow.
Even the pros can't make a shop like this. I mean, there's guys that are professional BMX riders that cannot make a shop that's just BMX. They got to have something else to make the gravy. It makes it only BMX, which is amazing, which is awesome. But I guess that's everything. I guess we've covered a few of the bases. Everybody gets to know Ed a little bit, so people can see the man behind Ed's bike shop. The stickers you see everywhere. You see it on YouTube. You see it you see it at the Inner Bike in Vegas. It's everywhere. I mean, it's like the last 2 or 3 years. I'm like, where'd this guy come from overnight? Not overnight. And it's like 45 years of walking along and making stuff happen. So congratulations, and
Thank you,
it's been
Brad.
great talking to you.
Same here.
And I will be back
Always
next year.
welcome.
Thank you.
Not next year. Anytime.
I'll be back
next
here.
year, yes, but
Whenever I need stuff, I talk to Ed or one of my other buddies, but I go to Ed.
stop in anytime. We enjoy it.
Cool. All right, and we'll be down for Ed's Games Trey next year. All right, thanks a lot, Ed.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Thank you, Brad.
Cool.